Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call this meeting together today for June 7, 2022 Board of Supervisors Budget Work Session. First item on the agenda is the budget work session. And Mr. Tadlock, would you take care of that?
Yes, sir. So the board held the public hearing, of course, last Thursday, and by code we cannot take action on that for 7 days. So tonight is just that it's a work session. I did provide the board some information on potential reductions. I don't know if the board has any specific questions related to the budget as a whole, or if you'd like to go through these few items that I have here, we can certainly do that.
Yeah, I would like to see it. I would like to see you go through the ones that we have, and
All right, I can certainly do that. I guess to start off with, on page 6, under the Board of Supervisors, it was a reduction, possible reduction of $25,000, and that was for professional services, and that was related to some of the engineering services, some of the, for the roof, EVB roof, and for the drip irrigation. I feel like some of that can be covered under ARPA funding, so that's one of the reasons that we were looking at removing that amount from that line item. Same page.
Cutting this would not hurt us in major things that we need to get done.
I don't believe so. I believe we can cover those items under the use of the ARPA funds. So. Same page, page 6, line item 5308, the general liability insurance. We received our rates, and actually that particular one had dropped a little bit, so not significant amount of funds there, but it was a little bit. On page 30, under the emergency services, line item 3005, CAD maintenance, I had also included the additional cost for the new CAD system that the Sheriff's Office is looking to acquire under that line item. The Sheriff also included that maintenance in his budget as well, so that's why I'm backing it out on that emergency services budget. That was $17,145. The on page 36, sanitary district, which would be various line items. There was an additional position that was being requested. Possibly remove that at a cost of $39,093.92. That would include the benefits. On page 38, line item 5612, food bank, I would be level funding the food bank if that was reduced by the $4,000. 5616, free health clinic, level fund that organization at $52,280 reduction. Northumberland Little League, line item 5621, reduction of $10,000. That would be level funding the Little League. And line item 5624, actually that's supposed to be under 5607 because 5624 is related to grants. But in either case, if it is approved, we can move those monies around. But Boys and Girls Club, reduction of $15,000. They were the items, I guess, going through the budget that kind of saw it right off. The other options, I guess, the board does have would be for emergency services. We've been talking about the hazardous duty VRS rate, increasing that to 12.47%. That is a cost of about $132,000 And the only thing is, if the board does continue with that, there is a resolution that is required to be adopted by the Board of Supervisors. And that actually needs to be done sooner rather than later, from the standpoint of Mary still has to provide VRS certain items, and then VRS has to do things on the back end, their side of things. So they had told us no later than mid-June to get that information back to them so that they could have that ready to go for July 1st.
And that calculation is on the total county and employees,
That's on
not
the,
just EMS employees.
that's correct. That, they look at the total pool of the employee population that the county has, but you are correct, it's only for that select group. And it's the same way with the sheriff's office, it's done the same way.
But they're not entitled for the hazardous duty pay, but we have to use the calculation on them.
For the entire population, employee population.
That's darned if you do, darned if you don't, you can replace the first person.
Yep.
So there's gonna be a retention concern, I know that.
Yeah.
But then it's a cost concern. Which cost do you have to worry about?
And that is certainly something that other localities have been looking at and approving to move forward with. So.
I mean, do you have the other localities that have approved hazard duty? Can you find out, say, next meeting?
Sure.
King and Queen, Lancaster, the King and Queen, Essex, Richmond County. Westmoreland just approved it, Lancaster's looking to approve it. So you're looking at all your local counties that you're gonna be competing.
Yep.
Yep.
That is hurting us.
So
That's right.
while we're on that subject, maybe we need to look into this and consider this. I know the board has set aside the funds for the revenue recovery and the patient billing to help buy equipment. What are we bringing in a year?
300, close, between 200 and 300, depending upon calls.
Yeah, it's like 225, I think, is what we budget as far as revenue.
Is it a way that we could take, and I like the idea of having that money there to pay for equipment, but could we use a portion of those funds to help fund the hazard pay? And I see under the overtime for the EMS, you've reduced that. I was looking at that too, because at one time it was like 130,000, it's down to 106 now, so I was gonna ask you use that difference to offset it. But I don't wanna take too much away from revenue recovery to have funding for equipment when we need it to, because that the equipment is very expensive.
Yeah, I think that's something we could take a look at to see exactly what funds we have in revenue recovery at this point.
Well, we've expended for both the new ambulances.
For one of them. We still have the one that I think Chief Packett is getting ready to go down and do a final review on. So we still have that one left.
And
to
then we've
get.
got the other two, plus someone's old 76, which is a standby. So, I mean, I think we need to look at the useful life of an ambulance based upon usage, and then look at how much we need to have to replace them in appropriate.
And I think we need to start looking harder at that RSFA grant,
Yeah,
knowing we won't get every one, but at least apply.
and some localities just take the revenue recovery money, just throw it straight in the general fund to help pay back for the EMS. So it's a question of which way you want to go.
Yes.
You counting in where you showed the revenues for the calendar year, is the EMS generated funds included in that?
It is. I show that on the revenue side.
But then it's put over in obviously a different fund.
Yeah.
With them, if you go with these Leos, you're almost gonna have to look at their retirement too. Because right now, they're under the hybrid plan.
They are, they would become a Plan 2 employee.
They will become?
Mhm.
Okay.
We already have some that are ones, and then they would become a 2, which also impacts how we would have to handle any leave that they have on the books as far as personal time.
Okay. So they
Because,
would automatically go into the high hazard retirement?
right,
It's gonna be a recruitment issue if you don't go with it.
I believe it would be.
In comparison to the other jurisdictions that have got it, that's, which multiplier, I see the 1.70 and 1.85.
We currently have the 1.7 with the sheriff's office, so that's the same multiplier that we use for the EMS side. That's what the 132 is based off of.
Okay, I just wanted, I saw the choices and I want to understand the difference in them.
And I can certainly get the EMS billing monies for the board this Thursday. Try and have that for you all.
Okay.
The only other thing we could possibly take a look at would be under the capital projects, remove or delay any of those types of projects. The board did, of course, have the public hearing last Thursday, but that was strictly approval of the plan, not any appropriation of monies. We needed the approval of the plan first, and then that goes into the budget planning process, so.
Well, as of right now, in EMS billing, and this does not include June since we're in it, right now, according to what Mr. Packett has submitted, we've received $285,000. We're averaging, it's a low of 20,000 to a high of 34. So you're gonna average, say, 25,000 a month. So so our ambulance is basically 200, not counting equipment and all like that, but it's basically, depends on what you put on it, but even if you use 200 or whatever, you'd still have a good amount. I think it's something we need to think about for both ways. Not to have a lot of money sitting in that when we don't necessarily need new ambulances, but we need to have a plan to purchase new, so we don't have to get us that way.
And that is something that we've been trying to do over the last
Yes.
several years, keep enough in reserve there to pay for the ambulances.
Especially the way it's the way it's been to get equipment. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, and it's waiting for a medic in almost a year. You know, what about heart monitors or anything else like that if you need it? And the thing of it is, if it comes a time when you need it, you need to purchase it from whoever you can get it from, as quick as you can get it from.
Right. They were the main items as we were going through the budget that could really find larger expenses. Of course, you can go through the budget and find smaller items, but it doesn't add up to the large amounts, I guess, that you would necessarily need.
So you were saying like for the free health clinic and Little League and the Boys and Girls Club, they would still get level funding what they got last year?
Correct. The only one that we currently do not fund as of right now is the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
So that would cut them back to zero. But the other programs that we have there, like the food bank, the free health clinic, and the Little League, we do currently fund, and that would just level fund those agencies.
Do you have any idea what specific capital projects could be possibly delayed without impacting anything going forward?
I don't right off. There may be some things under, as far as the vehicles, I don't know what the sheriff would be able to do. I know the CIP committee did remove one vehicle from that. And one vehicle is approximately $50,000. So I don't know if that would be a possibility. We could certainly look into any type of grants, more so for the well.
Probably be a good idea to try to research a grant for it.
I'm not sure if there's, we have DEQ here, but I'm not sure if there's anything through DHCD or anything through some of the other state agencies that we could possibly research.
Now, this is a replacement for the elementary school, but they still have the other, they have two.
They have
Correct.
two.
But you can drill one well and can run a lot of piping laterally as opposed to horizontally, potentially.
You can put a manifold, what I call like a manifold,
Yeah.
feed both of them from it.
Yeah. I hope so.
One well should be more than adequate to handle all the volume that's needed.
If we needed a bigger pump to make it happen, do it. Pump's cheaper than drilling a well.
Yeah, a lot of things could be changed there.
And we need one.
The generator being requested by the sanitary district, that could come out of ARPA funds, so that's not tied to any of the capital improvement fund items there, so.
Well, the generator buys that, what's 96.5, so you use ARPA money, that would make that much difference.
Yeah. What'd you say about the sheriff's office, Lutton? See, he's got 5 vehicles here with the,
Yeah, the CIP committee and the planning commission, they met with the sheriff, and he was originally requesting the 6 vehicles. And that was reduced to 5. Be honest with you, I don't know what that would do to his fleet as far as if that was reduced one more vehicle.
all these new vehicles, would they be for road deputies? Or would it be for someone like the deputy at the school resource officer?
I can get with the sheriff and find out.
Because if the school resource officer doesn't have to put the miles on that vehicle, as a road deputy would. And I think he's, what does he want to change him at 110,000? I think that's what it was, 110,000. State police changed him at a much higher number of miles.
they've gone to SUVs too, so spare police aid.
Yeah, they're going to SUVs, but they're changing them at, I think, 140, 150,000. Some of them, been where it's been now, with lack of vehicles, they're running 180, 200,000 on. And so you got two buses for the school system. That's 200,000 there.
How many do they want, lunch?
Did they requested 3?
Yeah, the school had requested 2 full-size regular buses and 1 special education bus, each of them at 100,000, but the committee recommended and brought to, in the plan for 2 buses total, what they could do for the school to decide if it was gonna be 2 full-size regular buses or 1 regular and 1 special education bus. I believe is how they brought it forward.
Did they, when they made a suggestion, did they think about, well, they probably know the miles on quite a few of those buses, right?
I recall the school board being there and discussing that with them, but I don't recall from memory what those details were, so I could look into that and get you some more information.
Okay.
Now, this top section is capital, excuse me, capital improvement funds. They are in the budget. It's the line, next block underneath of it says the ones not funded in 2023.
Currently, what we have in the budget under the CIP for the vehicles is the $250,000 for the sheriff's office vehicles. We have for the transfer to the school CIP is $110,000, the $200,000 for the buses, and the school bus garage roof. And then the $150,000 for the maintenance on the old courthouse building is in there. Now, the $96,500 for the sanitary district is not in the budget because we knew we could take that out of ARPA funds. But the other items are listed in the...
Yeah, just these top section,
Correct.
are already included in the budget.
They are.
Okay.
All of them except that, all of them except the sanitary district one is not included. And the only reason that's not included is because of the ARPA funds that we can use.
See, the roof on the bus garage, that's been there since the building's been built. So I know that's probably in need of replacement. I know it was less money, it was actually what it was, but we bumped it up to 100,000 for additional cost increase and everything. Well, what's the pleasure of the board? Any ideas? You want more conversation or?
Well, it would help to know if we had some type of idea of what kind of carryover money school may have or may not have by the end of the year to help determine on the CIP projects for the school, because that could be additional monies to go toward the projects. But we don't know what that is, don't know what that number is, so it's kind of hard to sit here and figure what we can do for the school projects until we.
Mr. Bellows sent an email, 150, 175,000, if I remember
Yeah.
right,
Okay.
as a possible.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
possible.
Right.
I think that bus garage would be a priority, because we all know what happens when the roof goes down. The rest of the building's gonna go with it.
You know, I don't remember how old the building is, but I know it hadn't had a roof onto it,
Around 1974,
74.
because they had some federal money, economic type money, and the county possibly, I understand possibly, for 12,500 architectural bids, could have possibly gotten a new school. But instead, they got the school bus garage.
Okay.
I mean, that was a gamble, the 12,500 would have been a big gamble, but I remember that. Somebody reminded me about a week or so ago, too. I forgot, there was some during the 70s, remember, we had lines for gas and all like that.
Yeah.
Things were stagflation and all like that, so things were bad, but there was some money, and that's what we got. So it was in the mid-70s or thereabouts when that building was built, if my memory serves me right.
Well, that roof has done pretty well
Yeah.
for that time frame. Y'all got anything else?
If the generator was paid for by ARP money, Mr. Tadlock, how much monies would the county have still remaining in the ARP fund? To the best of your knowledge.
I'd have to go back and look, because I know some things have come out of it
Yeah.
since the approval of some of the larger items, with different things. I can try and get a figure for you all for the
You
next
have an
meeting.
idea of, even if you take this out, how much more do we have? And could some of that be used to help pay for some of these other capital things too, to help? Especially one-time shot money is the best way to go. And I'm not expecting a precise, just a ballpark.
Sure. Yeah.
At least if we're in the ballpark.
Ballpark's close enough. That's all we need. All right, board, got any other ideas? Any other comments? Those other cuts you were talking about from the Board of Supervisors, Emergency Services, Sanitary and Social Services, you feel comfortable with those cuts?
Yes, sir. Yeah, like I said, the reduction of the professional services, I feel like some of those, the engineering services can be pulled under ARPA, especially with the drip irrigation, that type of thing. Again, that CAD maintenance was included in the sheriff's office budget, so.
Yeah, that was already included, so it can come out. Do you need an answer today, or?
No, I think we can, if the board would like, we can have another work session this Thursday. We don't have any public hearings, so we could discuss it more at that time. And we can get the answers to some of the questions that you all have asked us here tonight, so.
Is that agreeable with the board?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Are you talking about what, at the 7 session? Or whenever?
The night, this Thursday,
Yeah,
we don't have any public hearings, so,
so we don't have anything at 7 o'clock?
correct.
than-
I'm sorry, yeah, the 7
Yeah,
o'clock
Other than
session.
public comment? yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. That's fine with me. It's all right with the rest of the board. You don't need a motion on that or anything, do you?
Well, if the board wants to add that to the agenda, we can certainly add that as a placeholder.
So moved.
All right, we got a motion, and a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against? All right. So you can add that. What else do you have, Mr. Tadlock?
I just needed to update the board on some items, with personnel matters in closed meeting.
All right. I will entertain a motion to go into closed meeting. You'll be so kind, Mr. Tadlock, to read the appropriate material.
Yes, sir. I need a motion by the Northumberland County Board of Supervisors to convene in closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Freedom of Information Act, Section 2.2, 3711A1, for the discussion and consideration of personnel matters. Invited to attend the closed meeting as necessary are the county administrator and assistant county administrator, as they are deemed necessary, and their presence will reasonably aid the board in its consideration of the topics to be discussed pursuant to Virginia FOIA Section 2.2-3712F.
I so make that motion.
So make it, all right. Got a motion? I have a second?
Second.
All right, got a motion, a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go into closed meeting here. We're going to the next room. Y'all are welcome to wait for us.
Closed meeting.
Second.
Second. I'll read the motion.
Yeah? You'll vote on that first.
All right,
Do it right.
do it right then. All right, so you moved. Got a second, got a motion, a second, come to a closed meeting. It's not a session, it was meeting run.
Meeting.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now we need a roll call vote.
Yes, sir. I need a motion by the Northumberland County Board of Supervisors to return to public meeting and certify by roll call vote that only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting, were heard, discussed, or considered during the closed meeting.
I so move what you read.
All right, we got a motion, we got a second. All right, roll call vote. Jim?
Did you go?
Jimmy?
Aye.
Tommy?
Aye.
Ronnie? Aye. All right, now, any other business?
The only thing, I didn't know if the board wanted to take action on the VRS resolution, or if you want me to put that on the agenda for Thursday as well.
Put that on the agenda.
Put that on that agenda.
I'll just put that under my items, under the county administrator.
All right,
Do we need to stay open or can we close?
I would go ahead and adjourn if that's all right with the board, since we do have a meeting Thursday.
I so move that we adjourn the May meeting.
all right, we have a motion to adjourn, have a second?
Second.
All right, have a motion, a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right, I'll see y'all Thursday.
Thursday.